is World Heavyweight Champion Deontay Wilder.
What's up, good people of KC? This is Bellator Heavyweight Matt Mitrione, and you're tuned in to the hottest sports show in Kansas City.
This is the original Big Sexy himself, Jason Whitlock of FS1, Speak for Yourself. And you're tuned into The Ship with Darren Smith here on Fox Sports Radio, KLKC 1540 AM.
All right, we are back here on The Ship. Darren Smith, Jordan Tucker, and Michael Coleman is out this weekend. Of course, he's traveling to Kansas City, so we'll see him this weekend. But with us, we have a very special guest. Now, if you followed me during the Super Bowl on Radio Row, you saw our next guest as we were talking on Radio Row. But with us, former San Diego Chargers linebacker and Buffalo Bills linebacker, Shawn Merriman, joining us on the show today along with Tuck. And Shawn, first things first, thank you so much for joining us. But we want to jump right into things. Your Lights Out 9, May 6th, Saturday. It is live on FUBU, but for our audience who may not have heard our conversation on Radio Row, how did you get involved? How did you end up becoming the owner of Extreme Fighting? And lead us through that.
Yeah, actually, I started training myself during the off seasons back in between 2005 and 2006. And when I started out, I just wanted to get better with my hand-eye coordination and be a better outside linebacker, learn how to be more active with my hands. When I got to the NFL, I wasn't good at that at all. And MMA helped me do that. And coincidentally enough, my first day training was with Randy Couture. So right out the gate, you're working with the best. So in 2018, I launched Lights Out Extreme Fighting. We're now on Fubo Sports, Fubo TV. So we got a huge event right here in Los Angeles, May 6th. Get your tickets at lightsoutxf.com. If you guys can't make it, we'll be live on Fubo Sports, Fubo TV. So check us out if you don't got it.
Jordan, go ahead.
Yeah, so you mentioned doing some off-season training with MMA. What was that conversation like with the Chargers when you told them that's how you're going to train in the off-season, since you was one of their, top 12 picks in the NFL draft?
Well, that's easy. You just don't tell them about it.
Just don't show up with no bruises.
That's right. Don't show up any black eyes, which I have before. And I told them I fell and slipped in the pool or something. But for me, I really do think that a lot of these former athletes should pick up a formal combat sport. Not saying to go fight fully, but you should pick up some kind of jiu-jitsu or wrestling or boxing or something. Because when you get done, a lot of these guys struggle on still finding something to compete in. That's one of the hardest things to do when you get done. So right now, I've been trying to push more former athletes to pick up combat sports. We got two former guys transitioning right now. One guy I'm waiting for the XFL to be done for a season so we can come take a fight over Lights Out.
When you talk about why you wanted to do the mixed martial arts with your hand, what is the advantage if you're, depending on the position that you play? I know you as a linebacker, you're an aggressive person by nature, just by the trade, but how would it benefit like a wide receiver or lineman or somebody, saying to take that up? I know, of course, it helps in different ways, but I know for each person is different.
Yeah, no doubt about it. For one, as a wide receiver, getting off the line of scrimmage, being able to use your hands and leverage to get past those DBs, the ones that's trying to hold you and, get you off the line of scrimmage. For offensive linemen, as simple as that. Learn how to, hand combat. Same thing with D linemen. It's a lot of what we do is hand combat, getting past the right person, being able to open your hips up, turn a corner. It changed the game for me. In 2006, I came out, led the NFL in sacks. It was my first time, I believe, in my career ever being able to use my hands and being very violent and active with my hands. And I didn't have that before I started training MMA.
Three-time Pro Bowler Shawn Merriman joined us on the show today. Of course, he is the NFL sack leader. In 2006, made the Pro Football Writers Association All-Rookie Team, and is a member of the San Diego Chargers 50th anniversary team. Joined us on the ship. Of course, make sure, as he mentioned before, Lights Out Extreme Fighting 9, May 6, 2023. It is at the Los Angeles Marriott Burbank in Burbank, California, the Hollywood Studios. Fight card begins at 4 o'clock p.m. local time. That is, of course, 6 o'clock here in the Kansas City area. And if you can't get out there, of course, as he mentioned before, you can watch it on Fubo television. Shawn, tell us about some of the fighters to look out for this on this particular card.
Yeah, well, we have some of the next up and coming stars of the sport, man, and I'm fortunate enough because they all want to come start with Lights Out, right? We know that there's other big leagues out there, and they got other aspirations, but the main thing is give these guys a platform to go and showcase their talent. Believe it or not, there are a lot of promotions in the country. For us having a great partner like Fubo, a lot of these guys get seen, so they actually like living their dream and what they want to do. I've been a former athlete myself, man. There was nothing like playing on TV, where everybody can watch you. You get sponsorship dollars and stuff now, and you get a chance to grow these guys, and you find like these personalities as they come up, man, before these guys actually become stars. And you think of a young Conor McGregor, a young John Jones, a young Nick or Nate Diaz, and you grow these guys and you build them. You get behind them. Obviously, we playing, having a platform like the NFL, which I played in, and now get a chance to show them on those kind of platforms, man. For me, it's been nothing greater to do after I've retired.
Shawn, if you may have come around 20 years, from when you started, from when you were born, would you have gone in this direction, or would you have gone in this direction if it were more big time when you were coming out of high school going into college?
Oh, I tried. Nobody wanted to pay me the money that I wanted to, so I ended up not fighting. But the fun part about this is a lot of these guys are in these training camps and these fight camps, and I'll go sometimes 3, 4 days, 5 days, spend with them. I get a chance to spar. We have these open mats on Fridays, so I'll go and I'll get down once in a while. But more importantly, I just love to stay disciplined, man. It gives me something to wake up to, something to get challenging and compete again. And I've always kind of been this natural promoter of other people, and so it really fell in my lap to do this. Being on live TV, being on Fubo now, it's kind of different now. You're not showing up as talent. You're there watching things, the cage get put up and the lights get put up and having TV trucks outside and having over 1,000 people showing up, tickets and viewership. And so for me, I took that head on, man. And it's been, one of the funnest things for me post career.
Shawn Merriman joined us on the ship today. Go ahead, Jordan.
Yes, Shawn. So I saw that you mentioned you grew up in the DC area around Kevin Durant and Michael Beasley, who's just a walking bucket. We know where they can go offensively.
Right.
But you actually said it was your love for the sport of boxing coming up, is what really got you into combat sports. So who were some of the boxers you idolized coming up?
Man, so coming up in that DMV area, all the heavyweight champions, they will all come down. I remember when I was a kid, Riddick Bowe used to be around my neighborhood a lot. We had a guy, Pernell Whitaker used to be around a whole lot. The Peterson brothers used to come around, the Andre Ward. All these guys were always in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area because I grew up around boxing. Even had family members who were professional boxers. So I grew up just naturally being around fighters. And then when MMA came into the scene, like in the mid-2000s, I kind of transitioned to that because it was one thing I didn't know how to do, and that's tackle and get somebody to the ground. So, that was an easy transition for me. And I already grew up boxing, so I can naturally just box. And then I kind of start putting everything together and learn how to roll and be on the ground and, start learning some Muay Thai and kicking and things like that. But, it just transitioned me into the next phase of my life and what I wanted to do anyway.
I'm curious, when you decided to go in this route, being the owner promoter, obviously it takes a nice business acumen. What's been some of the greatest strengths and weaknesses that you feel like you've learned about yourself thus far in owning extreme fighting? And like, as you mentioned before, seeing how the cage and everything is put up, so you have to be involved with all aspects of it. So how do you think that you've grown as a promoter and a person in owning this fight league?
Well, the greatest thing is seeing everything come together, right? I remember the first event we had, and I walked out, and as they were putting up the cage, the lights and TV trucks, and people actually started to walk in where it was like over 1,000 people showing up in tickets. And I said, damn, what in the hell did I do? That was the first thing that came to mind. And, I felt at home because it was something that I built. It was something that I constructed this team on the production side and operations side. Negotiating deals with venues, on all these casinos that we work with now, and these venues we work with, me being able to bring Fubo in as a partner so we can get seen, because I think that's very important in order for the growth of our company. So it's been hard, but I'll tell you, man, it's not cut for everybody. Everybody not cut to be in this position, because there are a lot of moving parts that if you don't know what you're doing, you can fail.
And the biggest thing, and then I'll let Jordan get a question in, is because you said there's a lot of different fight leagues. Of course, we all know UFC and Bellator. How have you been able to, I guess, as you like to say, craft your niche with so much competition in where you're at?
Well, I've been fortunate, right? Because I still and always will believe that football is the biggest platform in this country, no matter what. Fighting is great. What the UFC's done for the sport as far as branding and making it a global sport is great. But football will always be the biggest, I think, common denominator in this country, at least. And so that's the platform that I built. That's the platform that I get an opportunity to promote these next up and coming fighters on this card. That's why it's and it's not been easy by any chance, but it's definitely made it a lot easier to have a built-in platform already where I can get all these guys seen.
Go ahead, Todd.
All right, Shawn, before we transition, I got to ask you this question. We got a big boxing match coming up soon with Garcia versus Davis. Where you going? Where you going?
I'm going to tell you why this is tough. Javante's from Maryland, from Baltimore. So I'm always support the hometown dogs, right?
Feel a butt coming.
But I'm also friends with Ryan Garcia and his team. And so it's very hard for me. I just saw that they raised the pay-per-view for like $84.
Yeah.
People can complain all they want to, but they're buying it. So I'm just hoping for, honestly, a great fight. I think it's going to be one of the best fights that we've seen in a long time, because one thing that boxing's been missing, and why I do believe the MMA has overtaken boxing, is the best wasn't fighting the best. And now we're seeing that, because normally in just the sport of boxing alone, Gervonta Davis not fighting Ryan Garcia for 3 to 5 years from now on their way out, right? Or somebody already have a loss, and the fight is not as big. So I'm glad just for the combat sports of boxing in general, that these managers, these promoters, these people are stepping out of the way and letting the best fight the best.
All right, we'll take a quick timeout, and I do mean quick. We'll be back with Shawn Merriman, Lights Out Extreme Fighting 9, May 6, 2023. Make sure you get your tickets. We'll be right back after this timeout. All right, and here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Hey guys, this is NFL Network's Aaron Coscarelli.
This is Super Bowl champion Heath Evans of NFL Network.
Hey everyone, Scott Hansen here from NFL Red Zone.
This is NFL quarterback Michael Vick, and you're tuned into The Ship with Darren Smith here on Fox Sports Radio, KLKC, 1540 AM.
All right, we are back here on The Ship here on Fox Sports Radio, KLKC 106.7 FM, 1540 AM. Darren Smith, Jordan Tucker. We're joined by former I keep saying Los Angeles because I keep thinking that. It's funny. I've never been to San Diego, so that's where I was. But we're with the former San Diego Charger linebacker, Shawn Merriman. Of course, once again, Extreme Fighting 9 on May the 6th, 2023. Make sure you get your tickets. Shawn, when you look at what's going on in the NFL, a lot of questions, not a lot of time, but I do want to ask you, how do the contracts work? Myself and Joe, we were kind of talking about this before we went on the air. So let's say you signed a deal, or it was 4 years, let's say $23 million, but $16 million is guaranteed. Where's that other $7 million at, especially if you never see the lifespan of that contract? How does that work?
Well, you want to get as much of your contract guaranteed and front loaded as possible, because then you leave the team with little options to make moves after your third year, right? And you want to be able to have the option to get out of that contract if the team isn't living up to what they do. Maybe it's a coaching staff. Maybe you don't like how the organization and the direction they're going. So you want to get your money up front guaranteed. It's a very physical and brutal sport, which a lot of injuries and stuff happen. So you want to get taken care of first. You got some security. Now the flip side of that is, you get out of that, you get that third option, that third year, that fourth year picked up, and you see somebody in your position that's not as good or haven't been producing like you have, and get a bigger contract. So there's a multitude of things to look at across the board when you're trying to go and sign a new deal.
And when you sign your deal, obviously you get a signing bonus. So is the signing bonus within that guaranteed money, and is that paid like when you get signed, and then you get so much? And the reason I ask is, so let's say like Orlando Brown, a lot of people in Kansas City were like, well, he should have signed a deal with Kansas City. Well, I was like, that was fool's gold, because he only had 2 years guaranteed out of a 6-year deal, $30 million out of $139 million. It just didn't make any sense. He goes to Cincinnati. I think he gets a 4-year deal, like 60-some million. He gets $30 million signing bonus up front, and it's a 4-year deal. So when the signing bonus is kicked in, how does all that work? And I'm asking just for like layman's terms, because we don't understand.
Yeah, so March is when that signing bonus kick in. It's my favorite month of the year. When that happens, you wait for not only it's coming, but everybody, your family, friends, everybody know that March is coming. They all also lined
they
up.
got their little list together. I need this car.
All of a sudden you get those texts, man. How you been? Everything good in your life? What's going on? And so those are the times. Every March I used to change my number. So. It's one of those things that you want to get the bigger sign-up bonus, and also too, depending on what position you're playing, right? If you see a guy like Aaron Rodgers got $60 million guaranteed or something coming in 1 year, well, guess what? It might hit the cap, and the team can't keep you anyway. So at some point in time, do you restructure to have a better team around you, right? So all these things take place. I tell any young player, you get your money first. Right. And once you get your money, you're secure. You got all your money there. You're happy with that. On the second or third contract is where you could be a little bit more lenient and saying, you know what, I want to win now. I got enough money. Me and my family were taken care of. We're good. And now I'm just trying to get a ring. But that first big contract coming out the gate, you want to get as much as you possibly can. And then you worry about everything else in the back end.
Go ahead, Jordan.
Being someone that's inside the locker room, especially on the defensive side of the ball, like how do you handle a situation? Let's say you're in Baltimore right now. You see what Lamar Jackson is going through. Is it kind of you stay out of it, but this is an important piece in order for this team to win? So how do you handle it as a leader, defensive leader in the locker room?
Well, you always got to play both sides of the fence, right? You have to. You want to support your teammate Lamar Jackson. Also, too, you want to stay out of it because that organization is also paying you, right? So you want to play that, as close as possible without kicking anybody to the curb too much. But it's also a wake-up factor, right? Because Lamar Jackson is one of the best players in the National Football League over the last, 5 or 6 years. Mm-hmm. And so if you see that happen to Lamar Jackson, you got to think, okay, well, they'll do that to him. They'll definitely do that to me. Right. So you always keep that in the back of your head. But for the most part, you try to stay out of it. You realize it's part of the business, and a guy has to get paid, especially when he's earned that contract and that money. And you just hope that he's back because he's only going to put you guys in a better position to win. And as long as that's going on, you don't want to answer those questions after practice or after the game. Hey, what's going on? That's brutal when you got to constantly answer the same questions about things you're actually trying to stay out of.
Shawn Merriman, of course, to join us on the ship this week. Shawn, the question as it relates to, with you as a former player, do you feel like the situation going on with Lamar, and of course, a lot of people are blaming the contract that the Browns did with Deshaun Watson, but do you see a situation where the owners are really trying to make sure that they don't go down there wrapping fully guaranteeing contracts, and this is why we're at the impasse that we are at right now with them?
The fully guaranteed contract part is not Lamar Jackson's problem. It's him not having an agent. That's his problem. And so there's no shot at his family or whoever's leading the contract negotiations, but the league has now put their foot down and said, we're not doing this unless you have an agent or have somebody to facilitate this deal. And what's so important about having an agent is that even if you don't get the contract you want for a team, at least the right agent has enough relationships to facilitate a situation where you can get out of there, right? It works both ways. So it's not about you just getting your contract with that team. An agent has enough relationship with these other franchises, these other GMs, these other personnel in the front office saying, hey, if you won't pay my guy there, I'm gonna talk to such and such whatever team because I have a relationship with them. They're open to do this, and that's where the relationship aspect come in. It's unfortunate that Lamar has not been paid because he's more than deserving of that fully guaranteed, that big contract. He deserves more than Kyler Murray. He deserves more than Dak Prescott. He deserves more than Deshaun Watson. This is without an agent being involved, but he'll never get it because he don't have the right person facilitating that deal.
Well, let me push back just a little bit, and then Jordan, I'll let you come in. And my only pushback I would say is, well, Bobby Wagner negotiated his own contract. Larry Tunsil negotiated his own contract without an agent. And so I guess my question is it just because it's Lamar and he's looking for that Deshaun Watson type money versus what these other players are getting? And
it's the amount of money.
Okay.
Bobby Wagner wasn't negotiating a $250 million guaranteed contract.
Gotcha.
And what happens is a standard percentage of a agent, at least a qualified agent, is about 3%. That's $7.5 million that an agent would get if he was negotiating that deal. And let me tell you, the rest of the agents are not for Lamar doing what he's doing right now. They don't want that to happen. because why would they? Why would they support that, him not having an agent, when you're taking away their ability to come in and do what they do best?
That's a good point. That's a good point. Now, we are less than a month away from the NFL draft here in Kansas City. And so, as you see, I cover the Cowboys closely. So, you're ever tied with the Dallas Cowboys. I got to ask this question, that 2005 draft. So, there was a lot of talk of you becoming a Dallas Cowboy. They chose DeMarcus Ware, but just kind of talk us through that process back in 2005. Like, what was that whole opportunity from going to the combine, from out of Maryland? What was that process like for you?
Well, it's crazy because the first time my name came up was at the #1 pick with San Fran, and they obviously went with Alex Smith. Right. The next time I think my name came up was 3 to Cleveland. I was like, okay, yeah, I'm not trying to do that. And then it was, I think, the 7th pick in Minnesota. They went with the wide receiver out of South Carolina, Troy Williamson. And obviously Mike Tice was there, who was a University of Maryland, former University of Maryland guy. And then, you had the then Redskins, but now, Commanders, the Washington football team, whatever you want to call them now. I think they had the 9th pick or something like that. They picked a corner, Carlos Rogers. And so it was just so much talk. I just didn't know what was going to happen. But I did know that I had a conversation and met with Jerry Jones and Bill Parcells, who told me that they were going to draft me. And so I went back and obviously told all my family, because if you're from the DMV area, it's either 2 teams you support. And that was me growing up with the Redskins and the Cowboys. You were either one in my household. You were either 2. That was it. And so 50% of my family wasn't going to be happy regardless of what happened if I went to the Cowboys. And they went with one of the best players who's getting inducted into the Hall of Fame with DeMarcus Ware. They didn't make a mistake. And I knew also that the Chargers, when I went to go meet with them, they said, if you so happen to slip to the 12th, we think you'll be gone to win the top 5, top 10 latest. But if you do slip to the 12th, we'll draft you. And that's exactly what they did.
Wow. We didn't know what DeMarcus Ware was going to be at that time, because we was all out of Troy. Are you kidding me? Like, we thought we had to steal the draft. So it worked out.
Well, Shawn, we want to thank you so very much. Any closing thoughts, of course, if you want to push the fight one last time for our audience?
Yeah, absolutely. You guys are listening. If you can't make it to Burbank May 6th, you can get Fubo. If you don't have Fubo TV, Fubo Sports, get it. We got a huge fight. The next upcoming stars of the sport of MMA, Lights Out Extreme Fight Now, to be live on Fubo Sports starting at 4 p.m. Pacific.
All right, make sure you do it. Sign up. You can go to FuboTV.com too, because I subscribed. So make sure you all May 6th, watch the fight, order the fight, enjoy it, and we'll get to see some of the next stars in mixed martial arts fighting. We'll be right back after this time.